The grocery store was bustling with activity, the sound of carts rattling and people chatting filling the air. An elderly woman named Mary stood near the bread aisle, her worn coat barely keeping out the chill from the automatic doors. Beside her was her grandson, Liam, an 8-year-old with wide, curious eyes, clutching a small toy car he had brought from home. Mary glanced at the price tags carefully, making sure each item she picked fit within her tight budget. She hesitated when she saw a packet of chocolate chip cookies, the kind Liam's late mother used to buy for him. Liam's eyes lit up as he recognized the familiar blue and white packaging, and he looked up at his grandmother with a hopeful smile. "Grandma, can we get these? Mom used to buy them for me," he whispered, his voice filled with innocence. Mary swallowed hard, fighting back the sadness that always threatened to surface when Emily's memory resurfaced. She hesitated, but couldn't bear to disappoint him. With a small, warm smile, she placed the cookies in the cart, knowing it meant sacrificing something else. As they approached the checkout, Mary's heart pounded. She pulled out a small pouch of coins and started counting them with trembling hands. Liam stood beside her, still clutching the cookies, unaware of his grandmother's worry. The cashier, a tall, scruffy man named Brad, raised an eyebrow and scoffed loudly as he noticed the coins. "Seriously, lady? Coins? What is this? A charity drive?" he sneered, making sure everyone around could hear. A few customers glanced their way, some with pity, others with annoyance. Mary's face flushed with embarrassment as she tried to keep her composure, but her hands shook even more, dropping a few coins on the counter. Brad let out an exaggerated sigh, rolling his eyes. "This is going to take forever," he muttered under his breath, but loud enough for Mary to hear. Liam glanced up at his grandmother, sensing her unease, but too young to understand why the man was being so cruel. From a few places back in the line, a man wearing a black jacket and dark sunglasses watched intently. His presence was calm, almost too quiet, but his eyes were fixed on the scene unfolding before him. No one seemed to notice him, but he noticed everything, especially the way Brad continued to belittle Mary without the slightest hint of remorse. As Mary struggled to finish counting her change, Brad leaned closer and smirked. "Maybe next time. Count these at home instead of wasting everyone's time," he snapped. A few customers whispered among themselves, clearly uncomfortable with the situation. Liam tugged on Mary's sleeve, offering her a shaky smile. "It's okay, Grandma. We don't need the cookies," he whispered, trying to be brave, but his voice cracked just a little. Mary forced a smile, even as tears pricked her eyes. But just as Brad was about to throw out another sarcastic comment, the man in the black jacket took a step forward, his expression unchanging, yet somehow more intense. It was as if a storm was brewing right behind those calm, focused eyes. Mary tried to steady her hands as she continued counting the coins, desperate to finish and leave the store. Brad scoffed again, tapping his fingers impatiently on the counter. "You know, lady, maybe next time just bring a credit card like normal people. Some of us have jobs to get back to," he snickered. A few people in line murmured in disapproval, but no one stepped up to stop him. Liam looked up at his grandmother, sensing her sadness despite her attempt to hide it. His little hand squeezed hers gently, trying to give her comfort. "It's okay, Grandma," he whispered. "We can just put some things back." Mary hesitated, glancing at the few items she had picked out: bread, milk, and the cookies Liam loved so much. She took a deep breath and pushed the cookies aside, her heart aching as she did. Brad noticed and smirked. "Figures. Can't even afford a pack of cookies," he muttered, shaking his head. Just then, the man in the black jacket moved closer, his footsteps measured and deliberate. He stood directly behind Mary now, his presence calm but undeniably intimidating. Brad glanced at him briefly, but dismissed him as just another customer. Mary continued counting, but her hands were shaking too much to keep track. Brad's patience had run out. He slammed his hands on the counter, making both Mary and Liam jump. "Seriously, You're holding up the entire line for a couple of dollars worth of groceries. Maybe just come back when you're not broke, he snapped, his tone dripping with disdain. At that moment, the man in the black jacket cleared his throat. It wasn't loud, but it was enough to make Brad look up with an annoyed glare. You got something to say? Brad sneered. The man removed his sunglasses, revealing piercing, thoughtful eyes that seemed to see right through Brad's arrogant facade. Actually, I do, he said calmly, his voice low but firm. You don't need to know someone's story to treat them with respect. Maybe you should think about that before you humiliate people just trying to get by. Brad scoffed, clearly unimpressed. And who do you think you are, buddy? The grocery store police? He shot back with a mocking grin. The man gave a faint smile, but it didn't reach his eyes. Number just someone who doesn't tolerate bullies, he replied. A few people in the line began to whisper, some recognizing him, but Brad still seemed clueless. Mary turned slightly, finally noticing the man's presence, and her eyes widened in disbelief. It wasn't just anyone standing there. It was Keanu Reeves. Brad froze, his expression shifting from smug confidence to sudden panic. A couple of customers pulled out their phones, recording the scene. Keanu remained calm, his gaze unwavering as he addressed Brad again. You're going to apologize to her, right now, he said, his tone commanding, yet composed. Brad hesitated, his face paling as he realized who was standing in front of him. His bravado crumbled, replaced by a nervous twitch in his jaw. The whispers grew louder, and some customers even started to smile, sensing justice on the horizon. Mary stood frozen, unable to comprehend that the man defending her was actually Keanu Reeves. Liam looked up at Keanu with wide eyes, unsure why everyone suddenly seemed so interested. Clearing his throat, Brad forced a weak smile, trying to save face. Look, man, I wasn't trying to be rude. It's just, she's holding up the line, he stammered, trying to justify his behavior. Keanu took a step closer, his presence somehow even more intense without raising his voice. Holding up the line? He repeated calmly. Or holding up your patience? Because from what I saw, you didn't even give her a chance. You judged her before she could count a single coin. That's not how you treat people. Brad swallowed hard, his confidence shattered. He opened his mouth to argue, but Keanu raised a hand, silencing him. You know, kindness doesn't cost a thing. But arrogance? That's expensive. It'll cost you your respect. Now, apologize, Keanu said, his voice firm and unwavering. A few people clapped quietly, and Brad's cheeks flushed with embarrassment. I'm sorry, he mumbled, barely making eye contact with Mary. She looked at him, still processing everything that had just happened, and nodded faintly. Liam smiled up at Keanu, his innocent eyes full of admiration. But Keanu wasn't finished. And one more thing, he added, his gaze never leaving Brad. You're going to make sure they get everything they need, without another word. Got it? Brad nodded quickly, desperate to end the confrontation. Mary hesitated, feeling overwhelmed by the attention, but Keanu gently touched her shoulder, offering a reassuring smile. It's okay, he said softly. You've done enough for today. Let me take care of this. He took out his wallet and handed his card to Brad, who fumbled with the machine, still shaken by the encounter. As the transaction processed, Keanu knelt down to Liam's eye level, his expression softening. Hey, buddy, he said with a gentle smile. You like those cookies? Liam's face lit up as he nodded. Yeah, Mom used to get them for me, he said, his excitement slowly returning. Keanu's eyes softened, sensing the weight of the boy's words. He gave Liam a little wink. Then, we're getting 2 packs. One for now, one for later, he said, making Liam giggle. The other customers couldn't help but cheer softly as Brad bagged the items with a forced smile, clearly humbled. Keanu handed the bags to Mary, who still seemed dazed. You didn't have to do all this, she whispered, her eyes brimming with gratitude. Keanu shrugged modestly. Sometimes a little kindness goes a long way. And sometimes, standing up is the only way to remind people what respect really means, he replied. As they walked out of the store, Mary couldn't hold back her tears anymore. She wiped her eyes quickly, embarrassed to break down in front of a movie star. Keanu noticed and gave her a gentle smile. "It's okay," he said softly. "Sometimes life's just too heavy to carry alone. You're stronger than you think." Liam tugged at Keanu's sleeve, his eyes bright with curiosity. "Are you really that guy from the movies?" he asked innocently. Keanu chuckled and ruffled the boy's hair. "Maybe. Or maybe I'm just a guy who likes cookies too," he joked, making Liam laugh. Before they could reach the parking lot, a young woman approached cautiously, holding her phone. "Excuse me. I just wanted to say thank you," she said, her voice shaky. "What you did back there, it was amazing. People forget to be kind these days." Keanu nodded appreciatively. "It's easy to forget when life gets busy. But if one small act of kindness can change someone's day, it's worth it," he replied. A few more people gathered around, some taking pictures from a distance, and others just offering grateful smiles. Brad watched from the store window, shame washing over him. Realizing how wrong he had been, he stepped outside, hesitant and clearly remorseful. He approached Mary, avoiding eye contact with Keanu at first. "Ma'am, I'm really sorry," he mumbled, his voice cracking slightly. "I shouldn't have treated you that way. I was frustrated and I took it out on you. I'm sorry." Mary looked at him, her gentle nature preventing her from holding a grudge. "It's okay," she replied softly. "We all have bad days. Just try to be more patient next time." Keanu gave Brad a nod, acknowledging his attempt to make amends. "It takes guts to admit when you're wrong," Keanu said. "Just remember, how you treat people matters. It's never too late to change." Brad nodded, visibly moved by Keanu's words. "I will. I promise," he replied, before heading back into the store. His attitude clearly shifted. As Keanu helped Mary load the groceries into her old car, Liam proudly held the extra pack of cookies, grinning from ear to ear. "This is the best day ever," he declared. Keanu laughed and gave him a high five. "You take care of your grandma, all right? She's a hero too," he said warmly. Before leaving, Keanu handed Mary a small card with his number scribbled on it. "If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to call," he said sincerely. Mary's eyes filled with tears again, but this time they were tears of gratitude. "Thank you for everything," she whispered. As Keanu walked back to his car, a thought lingered in his mind. It wasn't just about helping people. It was about reminding them that kindness and respect should never go out of style. He glanced back one last time, watching Mary and Liam drive away, knowing that today, a small act of kindness had made a world of difference.